I think the beauty of art is that it is in so many ways open-ended, and we should have this in life, that there should be cultural things which allow us to add our own thoughts to them, to decide for ourselves whether we like it. But the truth is that a lot of people don't want to have to bear that burden. We want to be told what we're supposed to think. We want to be spoon-fed stuff. And the fact is that most of our culture is about that. You know, making things convenient for us, instantaneously obvious, whether it's fast food or most, bad television shows or whatever it is, it doesn't really take much effort on our part. And so it relieves us of this obligation we actually have as human beings to try to, make a little effort sometimes to get something which might be worth it if we put in the effort. But it's funny because we'll accept it in certain ways and we won't in others. I think people accept the idea that you're not just going to play baseball like Derek Jeter if you just decide, if you just pick up a bat, that you got to actually maybe practice a little bit, be in Little League, have some skills and so forth. That effort is required. And then we admire that effort. It's just that in art, the end result isn't as clear to people when they haven't made any effort at all. In other words, when Derek Jeter makes an amazing catch or hits a home run, we think, yeah, that's achievement. We get it. When Pollock is doing the drips, because most people have never made any effort to understand why that's an achievement, they just think it's meaningless. Now, when you take an artist like, let's say, Malevich, who does, black on white, or Robert Ryman, who just does all white on white, there's certain difficulties involved in making it. But that also comes out of a conversation within art about what is innovative, what seems to push the conversation forward, why at a certain moment doing a certain thing becomes daring. And it's not necessarily about skill. That notion of skill, that pre-modernist idea of skill, that something is skillful if it is a representation of something else, that's part of what modernism got rid of and replaced it with a whole lot of other priorities, some of which were other kinds of skills, physical skills, some of which were conceptual, just in your head. And it's not unique to art. I mean, it's true in other areas of culture, that an idea itself can be important. Now, the black circle on a white canvas may itself be not a physically great achievement, but it is a historical document by a particular artist. And like a letter signed by George Washington or, Napoleon's diary, even if there's nothing particularly interesting in it, or Napoleon didn't have very beautiful handwriting, it may have incredible significance and in the marketplace value too. I mean, there is a certain point at which it may be obligatory for you to make some effort to try to understand something that doesn't automatically explain itself to you. And if that white canvas doesn't speak to you, you may wish to try to find out what it's doing there, as opposed to just saying, it's just a white canvas, what difference does it make? Or you can choose not to. It's your choice. Art is not an obligation. But like all sort of achievements in human culture, this would be true in science. People don't assume that physicists have to make themselves perfectly clear to you, otherwise what they're doing is ridiculous. String theory doesn't have to be automatically obvious to you, otherwise there's no validity to it. I mean, and yet why should art be that way? It's not that art has to be as complicated as physics. It's not that it shouldn't be able to move you. But you can be moved by lots of things, and you can be moved by ideas. You can be moved by the beauty of an idea. And the expression of that idea, the physical expression of it, might even be so minimal as a all-white canvas or a black circle on a white canvas or a lot of drips and splashes. That's possible. If you think about it, you go look at a painting in a museum. You're moved by that picture. That painting then remains in your head. It remains in your head as a thought, a memory. It's not a physical object in your head. And the quality of a work of art, in a sense, is its ability to remain lodged in as many people's heads as a memory, a concept. So I think, most art is physical, and we appreciate its physical beauty. But in some deep level, all art is conceptual, and it has to do with its ability for us to keep it in mind as a concept. I mean, all art in some ways is a lie. It looks like a picture, but it's of something, but it isn't that thing. It's a representation of that thing, and there are all sorts of ways in which we've devised to make something seem like it's real, but it's a flat canvas usually, and three dimensions are represented in a certain way. It's not that. So all images are, in a sense, we've conceded that we will agree that this is what it looks like. One of the things the surrealists did was to say, well, you can lie entirely. A locomotive can come out of a fireplace. You can paint a pipe, and you can say, this is not a pipe. Well, that's an interesting thing. Of course it isn't a pipe. It's a painting. It's a painting of a pipe. But on the other hand, it is a pipe, or at least it's what we say is a pipe. So, I mean, this is one of the ongoing games of modernism, and it has to do with understanding that at the heart of art is the idea that it's a lie. It's about a kind of agreed upon social way of representing things in the world.